The PlayStation 5 is almost a year old and has already seen quite the graphical journey thus far. There's even more to come though, so join us as we look at 15 titles on the console with the best visuals thus far, from upcoming titles which have showcased in-game visuals to upgraded PS4 titles that shine even more on the PS5. There's quite a roster to choose from. Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart.
Ready to kick some robo-butt?
I have many issues with that question. But why not?
From the very first reveal, Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart was something special. The texture work, character models, and gorgeous environments, not to mention details like fur and ray-traced reflections, looked incredible. But all this is supported by incredible texture streaming technology and seamless loading between areas thanks to the console's SSD. If any title could be compared to a Pixar film in terms of visual fidelity, then Rift Apart may be it. Returnal. Housemarque's knowledge and implementation of particle effects goes a long way towards making Returnal feel as harrowing and chaotic as it does gorgeous.
What do you want?
However, the incredible character models and textures allow both Celine and the various creatures of Atropos to come to life in haunting fashion. Even with all the attention to detail, it still runs at a near constant 60 frames per second. Demon's Souls. The visuals of Demon's Souls look incredible while still maintaining the classic feel of the original PS3 release, and to that end, it's capable of running in a near flawless 4K resolution. Environments have been polished with increased geometrical complexity, real-time shadows and lighting, and textures pretty much look flawless across the board. It's a testament once again to Bluepoint Games' impeccable talent. Horizon Forbidden West. Though we've only really seen one proper gameplay demo thus far, Horizon Forbidden West is already looking to be one of the most beautiful open-world games yet. The gorgeous environments and effects are dotted with realistic water rendering and exceptional foliage density, not to mention high-quality shadows and lighting. Guerrilla Games also revealed that the added power of the PS5 allows for increased skeletal joints for even better deformations and facial expressions in characters. This is in addition to models having more polygons, smooth contouring, and much more. Death Stranding Director's Cut. Even when it launched for the PlayStation 4, Kojima Productions' Death Stranding was an incredible looking game. Powered by the Decima engine, it boasts physically based lighting, detailed environments, and that painstakingly recreate the fjords of Iceland, and extensive animation work along with the meticulously crafted textures and facial expressions. The director's cut ups the ante further with 4K and 60 frames per second options on the PlayStation 5, further highlighting the twisted brilliance of the game's aesthetic. Ghost of Tsushima Director's Cut. Much like Death Stranding, Ghost of Tsushima already looked amazing on launch. On the PlayStation 5, Sucker Punch's recreation of Tsushima looks even more stunning with checkerboard 4K and 60 frames per second modes. Whether it's the lighting and the shadows, environmental textures, character models, effects, water rendering, or performance, it simply has to be seen in motion to be believed. Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade. It's a little insane, but just how many stellar-looking titles launch on the PS4 just as the PS5 neared release? But even with all of the praise that Final Fantasy VII Remake received, there was criticism lobbed at some low-quality textures. Intergrade suffers no such issues. The art direction and environments look even more gorgeous thanks to texture quality improvements. Coupled with high-quality assets and an improved skybox, improved screen space reflections, and volumetric fog, and you've got arguably the best-looking RPG from Japan at this time. All of that, plus support for dynamic 4K at 30 frames per second or 1512p at 60 frames per second with almost no drops in frame rate. Marvel's Spider-Man 2. Okay, so yeah, we didn't get to see a lot of Marvel's Spider-Man 2, but the reveal trailer still looked incredible. From the details on Peter, Miles, and Venom, to the lighting, the shadows, and environmental details. Even more incredible is that it was running in real time on the PlayStation 5, as confirmed by lead VFX artist Brianna Lindsay on Twitter. It just makes the wait for the next reveal that much more palpable. Forspoken. Luminous Productions' upcoming action-adventure title combines sweeping fantasy landscapes lush with green and sleek fast-paced action. The overall extent of its scale remains to be seen, but thus far, details have looked pretty good in terms of textures and grading. Characters like the protagonist Frey also animate extremely well, and the spell effects are fairly eye-catching. Final Fantasy XVI. The next major Final Fantasy title looks to be a big departure from more recent entries, utilizing a more grounded aesthetic. The medieval fantasy-esque setting combines well with series like icons, crystals, and even the adorable chocobo, all rendered in loving detail. Material detail, particularly for cloth and armor, looks great, as do the textures and characters and various creatures, and keep in mind that this isn't even the final version of the game. Gran Turismo 7. Gran Turismo has always been a bastion of realistic visuals, and Gran Turismo 7 is no exception. Polyphony Digital is aiming at 4K 60 frames per second gameplay with HDR support, and thus far, it's provided some exquisitely detailed cars and environments. While ray tracing is unfortunately restricted to replays, the reflection quality during races is still worth noting on top of the overall fidelity. Kena Bridge of Spirits. Speaking of the Pixar comparison, we have Kena Bridge of Spirits. When it was first announced last year, its cinematic prowess and quality were immediately evident as characters animated naturally. And though the game isn't flawless in some transitions, the overall level of quality is still great. Foliage density when exploring the world and the various rot effects are also a highlight, even if you really need to play quality mode to notice them. Ride 4. Ride 4 caused quite the stir recently, and with a video of its PS5 version being compared to real life. On top of a special camera mode that recreates the shakiness of a rider's helmet while driving, the realistic weather effects and lighting, along with the natural-looking environment, makes it all come together. It may not be the most feature-packed racing sim out there by now, but it's time to acknowledge it as some of Milestone's best looking. Marvel's Spider-Man Miles Morales. Marvel's Spider-Man received universal praise for its visuals, whether it was for the detail in Manhattan's buildings and denizens, the fluid movements of our hero, or the incredible skyboxes. Miles Morales improves on this feature with great-looking snow and weather effects, great draw distance, and a busier city with more density overall. This is in addition to introducing hardware-based ray tracing, which looks incredible, and numerous options for players who want 4K 60 frames per second performance, ray tracing, or something in between. God of War Ragnarok. One could nitpick Ragnarok for wheezing and animation here and there, but that's where the complaints end. The long-awaited sequel looks more detailed and gorgeously rendered, whether it's in the environmental effects and material detail or character animation and effects. All of this is further expanded by the addition of new enemy types, the return of the one-take style of cinematics, and even denser environments. In short, it looks to be another classic and yet another strong showcase for the PlayStation 5. And with that, we've reached the end of this video. Have anything to say? Let us know in the comments below. Also, we upload new videos every day on GamingBolt, so please consider subscribing as it really helps us out. Thanks for watching.